Good morning. As you heard from our host, we're continuing this month with our theme for the whole year, One Truth, Many Paths, and we're focusing on Native American wisdom. Well, the truth is that Native Americans are many different nations of people, and there isn't one wisdom that covers everyone. And that's what the book of the month, The Wisdom of the Native Americans, addresses by featuring inspiring quotes and extracts of inspiring speeches from the many different nations, including the Sioux and the Lakota and the Delaware and the Winnebago and the Mohawk and so on. There are many, many, many hundreds. And even though there are many, and even though they are quite diverse, there are definite elements in the quotes and speeches that seem to represent themes, at least among these selected pieces. Like, for example, the appropriateness of silence in deep communication. When is it appropriate to speak? And when is it appropriate to not speak? We talked about that on our Wednesday evening service. And then after the service, we had finger food and snacked together and had fellowship and practiced talking to each other. It was just so beautiful. And we're going to continue doing that on Wednesday evenings. You're invited to come and share with us, come and have a snack, and we continue exploring the topic of the week in each case. Another theme that runs through, as far as I can tell, is this theme of reverence and respect. Reverence for elders, reverence for our history and where we've come from, reverence for our connections, and reverence for reverence itself. Benjamin Franklin wrote a piece about the Six Nations, as they're now called, of the Northeast, trying to help the European mindset understand the ways of the people, the indigenous people. And in it, he talks about them saying, their government is by the counsel or advice of the sages. There is no force, there are no prisons, no offices to compel obedience or inflict punishment. Hence, they generally study oratory, the best speaker having the most influence. He also, in that speech, which is available online, it's very easy to find, he also, in that, compares the courtesy of the council meetings with the raucous nature of the British House of Commons, really begging the question, which one is civilized? Other themes appear, for example, a real strong theme is the importance of storytelling throughout as a way of passing down traditions from one generation to the next. The importance of storytelling to help transfer the knowledge of local customs so that it survives. Helping to transfer the knowledge of how to live in balance and harmony with the land. Storytelling as a way of mending the heart. And the storytelling was entertaining too, but more importantly, it was education. It was vital to the integrity, the group identity of society itself. It's where the learning took place. And it got me to thinking as I learned about this, what do our modern stories educate our children about? What do we learn from the great stories of our time? What are the values that are handed down, highlighted, and instilled in us by our stories? How do we learn to live in balance with the earth from our stories? How do we learn to live with each other from our stories? What are we being taught by the great stories of our time? What are the great stories of our time? Well, in some cases, I would say that movies and television have taken that role with the youth of our society as the primary instrument of societal education. And I think that they don't always tell us the stories that we ought to hear. They don't tell us the stories about how to live respectfully. They don't always tell us the story of hope and vision and the power of vision to draw us through into a greater reality. They don't always tell us the story of what traditions are important to us and what do they actually mean and how do we preserve them. Our stories don't seem to have as a goal to preserve wisdom. I think they are designed to tell us what will sell well. But we're in it too. Else why would we buy the tickets for these stories over and over and over and over again? Oh. Imagine if you were a visiting alien from another dimension. And you were coming here to discover what was the culture of this planet, and so you wanted to study its great stories. And so you used as your source material Netflix. Oh my. Have you ever tried to find something to watch by paging through Netflix? Yeah, you have to be selective. But the ones that are popular, the great stories, the stories that we treasure and value, they shape our society. That's how it goes. That's the way of things. If you're unconscious. One modern Native American educator tells the story about how he was teaching a class on multiculturalism. So he stood in front of the group of students and asked them, "What do you see when you look at me?" And so the students looked at him very astutely and they said, "We see a tall man. We see somebody who's probably Native American. We see somebody who looks laid back. We see somebody who's thin." And they listed all the things that they saw. They obviously saw quite a lot just taking him in, but they didn't see the story. And that was the purpose of his demonstration. He was asking the question to make the point that you and I, he, all of us are so much more than what we appear to be. That he and we are the product of so many lives, so many dreams, so many stories, so many aspirations, so many generations, so many families, so many strangers, and so many stories, and we are all, like he is, like we are, a bridge between forever and forever. And this is how he expressed it to them. What you see before you is one of the many places where the four winds meet. So eloquent. What you see when you look at me is all of my family and anyone who has ever offered help to me or my family for all of the generations of time that have ever existed. I am the place where they all meet. I am the bridge from one generation to the next, the culmination of all the experiences of all the people who are my ancestors and relatives, both in blood and in spirit. Oh, imagine yourself that way, as a bridge between everything that has gone before, your foundation, everything that formed you, and the new reality that you're reaching for, intending for, your greater yet to be. And you are that point in the middle, not only for your own life, but for all of the lives that intersect with yours, and even also for the life of this, our center. I think about that, our center, because we have it. We have this center. It is here as a result of the innovative spirit, the persistence, the perspiration of a great many people that came before us that we may not even know who they are, and yet we are related through the center. And I ask myself the question, And will this center go on past the time when we are not here anymore? Will its story be told? Will it be relevant? Will it stretch into the next forever? And I think that depends upon the people who are the bridge now and the direction that we decide to go. That's what it depends on. You know, every year, around about this time of the year, we have our giving intention program where we ask people to disclose how much they're going to give in the next calendar year. And that's why I'm bringing this up, because I'm asking you to lean into a deeper relationship with your center by asking yourself a question: can I see its worth in my life? But not only that, can I see what its worth might be in the next forever beyond the time that I am here? Can I see it as a bridge between the illusion of separation and the reality of our oneness with each other? Now, some of you I know already see it that way, and some of you have detected that this place has value for you, and some of you are already giving, and for that I'm deeply grateful. What we're about this month is asking the question, and are you willing to write down what it is you're giving on a piece of paper and turn it in so that your elected leaders can plan in a responsible way? Now, if you've already done that, thank you. If you did it online, thank you very much. And if you did do it online, we have a record of it so you can pick up your gift in the social hall. Or if last year we ran out, you can still go and pick it up in the social hall. We'll take care of that for you. Among many Native American nations, the idea of ancestors and relations is very strong. And relations and ancestors mean so much more than blood relatives, as it should. For example, you and I might not know who our blood relatives all are, but we still have kinship with all of life through the stories that connect us, through our history from the past and into the future. So we can think of our relations as being also spiritual relations of the people we may have only known for a moment or may never have known, but whose lives touched ours. And similarly, our relations are including people whose lives we have touched that we may never know. Like the people who built this place. Like the people in Malawi whose lives are being touched and yet we don't know them. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, last week I said I would share with you a little bit about our nonprofit partner process. And the way that works is we receive nominations from you, and you gave us some, I think it was 46 organizations to consider, and we had to sit and go through them and find 12 that we could select for next year to partner with. And then part of the process is that we write to each organization to tell them how happy we are to partner with them because of the great work that they are doing in the world. One of the organizations is Villages in Partnership, whose vision says creating partnerships with people in villages in Malawi, Africa, to bring about life-changing development for both sides of the partnership. And the director of the organization wrote an email back to our representative, and I'm going to read it to you. Was it a letter to you? Huh? Dear you, it is with great surprise and anticipation that I reread your email. I had no idea there was someone living in Santa Rosa, California, advocating for the poor, the most vulnerable, the widowed, and orphaned who live in a remote village of Malawi, Africa. When I read your email, I had to read it again. I was so surprised. I immediately went to your website. It looks like you are a congregation filled with the love of God, and thus have a heart for those who are suffering. We are honored to be recipients chosen to receive gifts of hope from your congregation. Villages in Partnership is small. We serve in 26 villages only in Malawi. However, within those 26 villages, over 17,000 people's lives are being transformed through partnerships like this one. And being small is part of what makes Villages in Partnership unique and so successful. We know all the players. We know each of our staff. We know all the chiefs, all the churches, all the mosque leaders, all the grassroots leaders, all the government agents. We know where and how our resources are being used. We develop true partnerships, sharing challenges, solutions, and resources. Your gifts will truly help create a better world. Thank you. We are so grateful. May God continue to bless you so that you may be a blessing to others. With hope and gratitude, Liz from Villages in Partnership. Oh. Now that's a story to tell. Oh, that's a story to tell our children. How once upon a time we found our relations in Malawi. What a story. Or here's another great story to tell from our history. How one day, somewhere in our past, some group of people we do not know sat down and had a vision of a center where you and I could learn about the liberating power of clear spiritual thinking, where we could gather every Sunday and learn and relearn that there is a power in the universe greater than we are and that we can use it, where we could come together and learn that using it meant using our very own minds, to imagine a greater reality than the one we currently have, and to help people help themselves to imagine that too. We don't know who they are, but they are our relations, just like the people in Malawi. So we get to think of our relations to include everything and everyone who has ever helped you on yours, who's ever believed in you when you couldn't believe in yourself, who's ever given you a hand up when you were down, who's ever looked up to you as an example when they were struggling, who's ever done something to prepare your way before they even knew you were coming, and who's ever shaped your life, even in the painful ways. And then each one of us is that place where it all meets, the bridge. But we are not stuck like a physical bridge is. No. No, we are a moving, changing sea of possibility. And here's what I mean by that. I was speaking to Rabbi George Gittleman. I had breakfast with him, and he said to me, according to the Jewish tradition, the past can be changed. Yeah. He said the past can be changed, and forgiveness work is the work that changes the past. And I said to him, absolutely, I believe that. And it changes the future. It changes everything. I get that. Because every time I heal a relationship, or every time I take a stand for justice, or every time I get clear on who I am, the whole landscape behind me changes and shifts. And things are no longer meaning what they used to. And at the same time, the whole future gets mapped out in terms of new possibilities that were obscured before by the darkness of my unforgiveness or stuckness. And every time I make a decision to help others, every time I make a decision to contribute beyond my own needs, and every time I choose to believe in others when they cannot believe in themselves, and every time I choose to see the good when the world is horrid with conflict and war, and every time I believe in the future and decide not to give up when shootings in schools terrorize me, and every time I decide to ask for forgiveness or to forgive even when it is painful to do so. And every time I present myself and I'm dependable, every time, the whole world behind me in the past shifts and changes, and the whole world ahead of me brightens up to match the choice and the stand I've taken in consciousness. That's what we learn here. We are not bound by the past, and neither are we predestined for a particular future. Oh, no. No, 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 no. No. We are shapeshifters. We are trendsetters. We are mind menders. We are heart healers. We are points of individual activity within the very creative mind of the universe itself. I want to tell you one of my own stories. I have a story. Once upon a time, a while ago, I had a Sunday off. It's a good story. What do you think I did on my day off? I came to service. Of course. I came to service as an observer. And I came and I sat right over there, and I just sat and I watched everybody playing their part. From the people visiting, to the people sitting, to the people on the stage, to everything, all the ushers, and I just took it all in. And it came to me in a moment that it didn't really matter what the message was, or who the speaker was, or if I liked her, or what the music was, or if it was according to my taste, or if there was enough coffee for everyone, or whether the slides were spelled correctly, or whether there was gluten-free knickknacks to eat, or whether everybody was being perfectly polite with everyone else in the parking lot. See, it didn't matter. In the larger scheme of things, what seemed to matter to me in that moment was the miracle that we were there together at all. There we were. And I could see in that glimpse of stillness that we, all of us, are the result of dreams, many intentions, many visions from the past. And I just sat there and I felt this complicated web of interconnectedness, and I felt myself choke up a little bit with it because I could imagine others that I do not yet know on the other side of the bridge of forever, in some unknown future yet, somewhere, learning what we've learned, finding refuge the same way we have, being touched and helped and feeling at home and learning about the power of their own minds, because we are here. And it came to me that every single one of you is my relations, and I yours. Co-pilgrims, seeding the future. I'm one of yours, and you're one of mine, and we're making something wonderful. And a tremendous flood of relief came to me in that moment. I seemed to just let go of everything, and I got it for a moment that we're in the right place. Just the way that it is. And just the way that it is not, because that is the way of things. And I started to think for a moment, I may have understood in that moment for a little bit what it means to have a close personal relationship with Spirit. Because through that experience, I was seeing reality through the filter of you and us. And feeling what it might feel like to be a place where the four winds meet. Now imagine a world in which kinship with all life is revered. Imagine a world in which the stories that we tell our children even if it's through the movies. Instruct them about belonging, mutual respect, forgiveness as a high, holy value. Imagine a world in which people have a place to belong and food to eat. Well, that's what your center, our whole movement, wants to do. It wants to act as a bridge between how things appear to be now and how this vision calls us forward. And that's why every year around about this time, I will every year, that as long as you continue to employ me, I will call you every year to step into a closer partnership with your center, primarily today by completing your giving intention form so we can do the work we need to do to follow the calling of that vision. I have a video for you. Let's see.
Hi, Edward today asked us to do a selfie about what we love about the center. And coincidentally, during the service, I was thinking how grateful I am for this place.
Hello, my name is Olivia, and I'm a member here at the Center for Spiritual Living, and I have been for about 4 years.
And specifically, I'm grateful to have a community that is both accepting of many paths, but also having a deep sense of divinity.
This is my spiritual home. This is where I come to be nourished and to cared for.
It's a wonderful combination. I feel like I've been yearning for this for years.
This center gives me so many opportunities to volunteer and to give service in the area of baking for Sunday mornings, in the Sleep Warm project where we make quilts for the homeless women and children.
I have taken many classes and learned so much more about the center, about spiritual mind treatment, and about a daily practice. And I think that daily practice has made a really significant difference for me. I'm now in the work I'm doing, which I absolutely love. I think in a big part I got here because of this daily practice and the support of the church, of the center.
And I'm a member of the One Heart Choir.
I feel more and more part of the community, and I'm just so grateful that I have a place to come to every Sunday to feel inspired.
This place has given me so much, and while I was grieving for the loss of a dear family member, Edward, the choir members, and practitioners were there for me to support me and my family through this terrible, horrible time of grief. And I give thanks for that. I am so blessed.
I extend the same invitation to you. If you have a message about how the center has been there for you, or why you love the center, you just pick up your smartphone and you make the video like that. You tell us the story, you send it to me or put it in your Dropbox and share it with me, and I will turn you into a movie star. See, the message of hope, the story is in your hands. It's in your hands. It's not all about me, it's about us, about we. So what's your story? Why'd you come here?